Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another Market Open stream. And get ready for market hell, because that is what we're going to be experiencing in about a minute. So let's talk about what's going on today and what's going on with Bitcoin, what's going on with Celsius, what's going on with overall markets. It's not looking good right now. So, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com. And make sure you follow brand new CryptosRUs Clips channel. All right, flipped my screen a little early. But anyways, welcome. We have about 30 seconds or so before U.S. market opens. And right now, you can see it's not looking pretty once again. Last week was absolutely disastrous. This week, looking like it's going to be just as disastrous right now. Down minus 600 points. Market bell. I know a lot of you guys tune in just to hear this market bell. Down minus 600. NASDAQ minus 350. Right? And Bitcoin is hovering right around 23.4. So since yesterday till now, we dropped almost 5,000 points. Not only that, entire crypto market cap has gone down 12%, and now we are below $1 trillion. It wasn't too long ago, we were still at $2 trillion. Now we are below 1 trillion, and there is massive sell-off right now. So what is contributing to this? Well, there's many things contributing to this. So for stock market, why is the stock market crashing? Well, it's because inflation is still high, CPI data came up, and everyone is looking at what's going to be announced on Wednesday. FOMC meeting will start tomorrow, and on Wednesday it will conclude, and there will be another press conference. And Wall Street wants to know what Powell thinks about inflation, whether or not he's going to be more hawkish. Are there going to be more rate hikes besides the one that's coming this month and next month, right? That is what's driving markets crazy right now, and you can see it is still minus 600 to minus 300 right now, right? So yeah, a lot of fear. But what about Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin, we just seem, just Bitcoin and crypto in general, we have been, I mean, it's a tsunami right now. We caught this tsunami of bad news, right? So last night I kind of already talked about it, but there's a little bit more development, so I'm going to talk about it some more. But Celsius, one of the major lending projects that so many people have their hard-earned crypto on, has stopped withdrawals, swaps, and transfers. This is a day after Alex basically went on an attack, attacking all the people that were warning about Celsius, and it has happened. He has not tweeted anything since then. Now, according to CNBC, Celsius has about 1.7 million customers. They have about 12 billion worth of assets, okay, which is quite a lot, but it's still down from their peak of 26 billion in last October. So they have quite a lot out there. So when this released, this got the market spooked even more, okay? On top of the fear that we already had, a lot more. Every single crypto lending companies started seeing massive withdrawals. Exchanges probably saw massive withdrawals. Everything is spinning out of control right now because of this. And of course, this comes at the heels of the other collapse that we just saw, Terra and Luna and UST, right? So this is why it's a tsunami of bad news right now. So yeah, so that happened. Okay, now, this is what I was saying. Alex going on defense, basically saying, "Oh, tell me one person has withdrawal problems, widespread FUD and misinformation," and this was a day before what happened, right? So I guess from what we learned from Do Kwon and now Alex, it's like, just stay humble, okay? Stay humble, because these things come back to haunt you. Now, the update information is this. It looks like over the past 3 days, Celsius transferred about 104,000 ETH to FTX. Okay, and guess why they did that? Because they probably need money. And they also sent about 9,500 wrapped Bitcoin also. So that's a whole lot of selling that's probably happened or going to happen, right? Because there is a bank run that's happening. That is why they've stopped withdrawals. It has to be, right? What other reason would there be to stop withdrawals? So this is happening also because Celsius is highly leveraged with DeFi. This is one of the reasons why they're able to provide the rates that they do, right? That is what is being looked at right now and presenting the problems, because they have a ton of STETH, which has depegged. So there's issues with that. Here, it looks like Celsius has about 18,000 wrapped Bitcoin in Maker protocol, which is facing liquidation at 22,500. But it looks like there's an update. It looks like they deposit a little bit more. So now the liquidation price is down to 20,000. And those of you guys that have tried to save your leverage plays knows that no matter how much you try to bring down liquidation price, it generally always hits, right? This is why so many people get wrecked with leverage, because you think, okay, it can't possibly go to that point, and I'm just going to put a little more in to kind of bring the liquidation value price down. But no matter what, it seems to always hit. So right now, liquidation price on a lot of wrapped Bitcoin is 20,000 for Celsius, right? So bottom line, this is not a good situation. Everyone is talking about it. CNBC is talking about it. Every news site is talking about Celsius. And if this truly comes down to them going insolvent and bankrupt, this will bring so many regulators to this space, it'll make your head spin. If you thought Terra and Luna's collapse already brought in so much scrutiny, this will bring even more. This will basically permanently put a black eye on DeFi for a long time, for a very, very, very long time. All right, so I'm really, really, really hoping that Celsius does not go under. Somehow, some way, they survive this, because if they go under, we will have so much scrutiny from all the regulators, right? And I don't know if DeFi can survive after that. I mean, it will be bad. So that is definitely adding this is adding fuel to the fire right now. And even Tether, which is like the most untrustworthy stablecoin and company, even they felt like a need to put out a press release saying that Tether reserves are strong. Don't worry about us. We're not impacted by Celsius, even though they say they have a small investment into Celsius, which is kind of interesting. But they say their reserves are holding strong. And let's hope that that's the case, because if there's a massive bank run, let's hope that Tether has enough reserves to make sure that they still have enough to pay out, right? So that's what's going on with Celsius, which of course is not good news. But it's not just them. It's just there's a whole onslaught of bad news happening right now. Wait, before I get to that, Joe Lamas, big super chat. You saved my life with Celsius video. I had half my crypto there and moved out just in nick of time. I'm really, really, really glad to hear that, because I did create a few videos about it, just not trying to spread FUD, but warning people that this is happening. It's not looking good. Some people have thanked me, like you, saying that you helped me get out. Unfortunately, though, many people did not. I got so many comments and the DMs yesterday, emails from people that said they have a third of what they have or a half of what they have on Celsius, and they are panicking. And of course, this is right after major loss from Luna and UST. I feel for everyone that has their crypto trapped on. So right now, there's just a lot a lot of uncertainty at this point. Now, people have asked me, well, what do you think about Coinbase or these big exchanges like Gemini and Coinbase and Kraken and Binance.us, right? My thoughts are this. I think they're not probably, okay, I'm just going to put an asterisk there. Probably they're not going to see the same thing because they are much bigger companies. They make a lot more money from trading fees, and I'll get to that in a little bit. And they've been around for much longer. And plus, someone like Coinbase is publicly traded, which gives them a lot more liquidity to play with. And I doubt that many of these U.S. companies are involved as much with DeFi or U.S. exchanges are as much involved with DeFi as Celsius is, right? So that's my thought. But still, with that said, if you don't control your crypto, you don't control your keys, you don't control your crypto, right? Coinbase have said before, if we go bankrupt, we're going to take everyone's assets with us, right? So that is the important thing. If you don't control your own crypto, your keys, you don't control your own crypto. So it's still much safer to have your crypto on your own wallets so you're in control of that. But of course, when you do that, you have to safeguard it. You have to make sure that your passwords, your key is protected. You don't have malware or virus on your computer because it'll lead to bad things, right? So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, besides what's going on with Celsius, people are questioning MicroStrategy, which they have fallen 27% today. So MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, what is going on with them at this point in time? Because of the accounting practice and because of the dollar cost average price, I think MicroStrategy is at 30,000 or 31,000, right? They are looking at a massive unrealized loss at this point. So their next quarter result is probably going to be absolutely horrible. But that's okay, right? That's okay if you're going to be a long-term holder. But what is scary about the situation is their last buy, they put down collateral. They put down Bitcoin as collateral to buy more Bitcoin. And this is something I've always advised against. People have called out Michael Saylor on this, which is to borrow against your Bitcoin, right? When that happens, you have a risk. So that liquidation price or margin call is around 21,000. Now, MicroStrategy CFO did say that they have more collateral to put down if we ever reach that point. So there's probably no concerns that they're going to lose that Bitcoin. But still, right? It's just not something that needs to be done. There's too much risk. There's no risk. That's kind of risk that's just a little bit too much, especially for a public traded company, which is why Wall Street is hammering them today at negative 26%. But it's not just them. Someone like Coinbase is being hammered negative 16, 17% because, again, people are fearful about what happened with Celsius and whether or not it could happen to Coinbase, right? So there's a lot of fear definitely going on right now. And as for exchanges, I just got done saying exchanges make a ton of fees, but here's the thing. They say like bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. That's what's happening with leverage traders right now. You would figure with the decline, it should be all long liquidations, right? But if you look at this, you'll see there's plenty of short liquidations too. And the reason being, there's a lot of very highly leveraged people out there. High risk, very, very high risk. So not only do you have hundreds of millions of longs being liquidated, you have hundreds of millions of shorts being liquidated too. This is why the exchanges make so much money. Because regardless if you get liquidated, regardless if you make money, either way, up or down, or you get wiped out, they will continue to make their fees, which is why they offer it. So don't play with leverage because you will lose both ways, right? So this is also, of course, adding to the sell pressure today on top of everything else, Okay. Now, this is why it's market hell, right? So what should we do about it? So does this mean that it's just so bad that we're already in Armageddon and we're facing it, and you know what? There's no coming back from this. There's no coming back from this, right? Well, I'm glad that the mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, did this interview, because he basically stated what I'm going to tell you right now, but I want you to hear it from him, because this is a very good interview, about two minutes, right? And it kind of sums up what we're seeing right now. The host, I think it's Andy, right? He is a fearful guy, right? At least he plays the role of a fearful retail investor. The mooch, on the other hand, is not. You can see he's laughing all the way to the bank, because he is DCA. He's buying when others are fearful, right? So let me play this for you guys. I think this is a good listen. Austin, thank you. I appreciate that. I do. I try to do what I can. Let me see here. Let me get my audio going. All right, and let's listen in on this.
And I want to get your thoughts on a morning like this. It kind of feels like we are, I don't know if we're doing a full round trip, but we're getting close.
Oh, well, a full round trip on crypto or the overall market? I mean, I think both are in question right now, because as you and I both know, interest rates going up, 1 to 2% rise in interest rates easily take 10 to 15% out of the market, Andrew. So everything's being impacted. But watching you guys this morning, it makes me think of March of 2000. Unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember that, where internet stocks were cratering. Many of the Web 1 stories went to zero. And then, of course, there were a few gems, things like Amazon, that went on to do very well. And I am encouraged by the fact that Bitcoin is above 50% of the overall crypto market cap right now, which is, again, another sign that there's a flight to quality there. Now, of course, Celsius is putting pressure on it, the same way that the Luna Terra situation put pressure on it about 6 weeks ago. So we're in a bloodbath. This is my 8th bear market. I expect to survive this one as well. But I think it's just caution people to stay unlevered, but keep to your long-term investment discipline. Everybody has a long-term perspective until they have short-term losses, Andrew. Right. And then they start to set their hair on fire and run around in a circle. I would recommend people just stay disciplined. And like Joe, don't look at your 401k statement.
But Anthony, does staying disciplined mean buying on a day like today? Are you out there? I mean, you have been bullish on Bitcoin. If you're a true stacker, is this the time to stack?
Listen, I certainly think so. And with incremental cash that comes into our funds, we have bought more Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have a private stake in FTX. FTX is doing very well. It's gaining market share. And it is a profitable company. So, yes, I mean, the truth be told, people will look back on this debacle and say, I wish I had fresh cash to buy into that. Could it leg down some more? Certainly. We all know that whatever you think cannot happen on Wall Street likely does happen. And so we're ready for every scenario.
He summed it up pretty well, right? We're still early, what I've been saying for a long time. Yes, I'm old enough to remember the dot-com bubble too. Not quite as old as Anthony, but I lived through that. I was in college back then, right? So many companies, Web 1.0 companies, went down because of the dot-com bubble, right? But the ones that survived are the market leaders today. Now, so we're still very early, right? The other thing he said, I think that there's no better way to say it. Everyone has a long-term perspective. Everyone has a long-term goal when they get into crypto, or they think they do, until they realize some short-term losses. Then the plans go out the window and the discipline is not there, and that's when you have all the FUD and panic selling, right? You don't make money like that. You don't. You pick the winners, and you need to have patience. You need to stick with them. And you need to continue to DCA and pick up when they are low. That's how you win. That's how everyone does it. right? So if you do the opposite and you only buy when things are on the uprise, right? Then you know what? You're buying high and selling low. No, you want to buy low and sell high. So basically, what he said is correct. And I've been saying that too. Just be patient. Stick with Bitcoin and crypto, right? The ones that you really believe in, the ones that you know for sure that they will continue to execute. Their leaders are going to continue to educate, and they will continue to form meaningful partnerships and relationships, and they will keep going, right? And these are the ones that we hold. And there's so many projects like that out there. And regardless of what kind of sell-off we're seeing, that's not going to change for many of these projects. And just yesterday, I talked about I think some of you guys watched it. I've lived through a lot of these corrections too, right? And every single time when we come back, I regret, first of all, panic selling, and I've done so many in the past. Every single time, I regret selling. If I just held, I would have made a lot more. I mean, it's always like that. It's always like that. So regardless how bad it may look right now, and we are definitely in market hell. I would say today is one of those days where it's like just absolutely nothing but bad news. There's no good news, right? Remind yourself why you got in the first place, why you're holding on to Bitcoin, why you're involved with Web 3.0, because we're still very early. We want to find and buy those unicorns that will be the future leaders of tomorrow, today, right? And we're holding on to the best asset and best network that exists, which is Bitcoin, right? And nothing has outperformed Bitcoin within the last 12 years. Nothing. And here's another good reason why you want to be holding. Take a look at this. This is measuring NASDAQ. I'm not even showing Bitcoin because Bitcoin's returns will be like millions of %. But after our last market crash, bear market, the last bubble, 2008, 2009, remember the housing bubble? It was a horrible time then. Markets crashed. I remember Dow swing up and down 1,000 points daily, 3,000, minus 3,000 points. I remember those days. But look at all the following years afterwards. After we have found that bottom, look at NASDAQ's return year over year over year over year over year, right? This is why you want to have patience and you want to hold on to the winners. Because afterwards, after we get through this, the returns are phenomenal, which is why markets make a new high every single time after a major correction or dip, which is what we're experiencing right now, right? So this is another reminder why you want to be holding. You want to be playing the long game. Form that goal, that financial, whatever it may be, financial freedom, life-changing wealth, right? You want to stick with that. Ignore short-term volatility. Make sure you continue to have patience, HODL, DCA, and you'll get through this. You'll get through this, all right? So that is what I wanted to say, despite everything that is going on right now. Now, as for short-term, people are wondering, where can Bitcoin go? Is this the bottom? I was wrong. I thought 25,000, our previous low, from like a few weeks ago, like maybe a month ago. I thought that could have been a bottom. There's a lot of bottom indicators that was showing that was around the bottom. Wasn't, okay? So we're a little bit below that, but where can Bitcoin go? So a lot of FUDsters will say, oh, it could go to zero, like Peter Schiff. Well, no, that's I'm talking about realistic, okay? Where could Bitcoin go? Can it go lower than here, or is this the bottom? Don't know. But a lot of people are looking at this, the weekly moving average, which is like, if you look at it, this is where we dipped to in 2018, 2020, slightly, right? And if you look at where that is, that's pretty much where we are now. It's right around 22,600, right? So can we like, do a down wick past it and recover very quickly? Sure, it could happen. Right? That's why when something like this, I see something like this, it scares me. because when liquidations happen, it doesn't matter. It almost seems like it doesn't matter how low you bring down your liquidation price. It always happens, right? So can we do like a down wick to 20 or 18 and then have like a quick recovery like before? Sure, it could happen. Or we don't have a down wick. Maybe we just hold around here because we're close enough, or we hit that 22,000. There's no guarantee, but this is what a lot of people are looking at. And unfortunately, though, when people are looking at this too, it almost seems like it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when people look at this, they're like, well, then I'm not going to buy. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait and wait and wait and wait. And sometimes they say they're going to wait, but they never end up taking advantage anyways, right? So this is why I'm like, you don't know where bottom is. You just DCA along the way. You take emotions out of it. You take guessing out of it. Just DCA whenever you can, right? And make sure you stick with it. Set a schedule. Set a schedule. That way you don't have to guess. And if you happen to be buying on the way down, well, then you bring your cost average down. That's how many do it, and that's how I do it, right? So short term, I think a lot of people are looking for this to happen. If you're looking at some of the other indicators, I mean, Bitcoin is just way oversold at this point. You look at the weekly RSI, we're at the same point, right around 29. We're at the same point as 2018. On a weekly time frame, the RSI is oversold as 2018 when Bitcoin was at $3,000. So think about that. Stochastic already bottomed way long time ago, right? So from a TA perspective, obviously, many people are waiting for this to happen, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But in terms of oversoldness, yeah, Bitcoin is definitely oversold, which is why Anthony Scaramucci said he's buying. I am buying, and I believe it is definitely the right time to buy, regardless if we have, more downturns, because you just don't know. And we could see a recovery pretty quickly after that too, after we get that whatever down wick or not, right? So stay strong. Bottom line is stay strong. It's ugly. This week could get uglier. We're starting the week pretty bad, but we will get through this. We will. All right, let's do some Q&A. I've been checking out Michael Saylor's tweets. I was hoping that he gives some insight in terms of what MicroStrategy is going to do, but I have not seen anything from him. Looking also at Alex, hoping that he gives some insight in terms of what's going on at Celsius. Nothing. I sent an email to him last night asking him, if he wants to come on the show and do an AMM or interview. Have not heard back from him. Obviously, I think everyone is trying to hound him for that, but I don't know what he could say at this point. Basically, they are short on liquidity, and they're trying to stop it as much as possible, right? So, yeah, it's just we need some updates is what we need. Sold my kidney to buy Bitcoin. Okay. Oh, yeah. I did see this, too. About Nexo, I think it's such a bad move. I got done saying, from what we learned from Do Kwon and from Alex, it's good to be a little humble, okay? Not just a little humble. It's good to be humble overall. I saw Nexo do this, and this is just an absolutely horrible play. Horrible play. And it would not surprise me, because of what they just did, that this will haunt them in the future, and they will see the same thing happen to them, because that's karma. So Nexo all of a sudden comes out and says, you know what? We're better than Celsius. We're going to buy all of their assets. And if you look at this letter of intent, it's absolutely BS. First of all, it doesn't say how much they're going to buy the assets for. And also, this is good for 7 days. And then they better accept in 7 days, right? So Nexo is obviously trying to take advantage of the situation. They are also a lending company, right? But make no mistakes. People are pulling out of their crypto from DeFi projects and CeFi projects like Nexo and Celsius. they are pulling out, and they're pulling out from exchanges too. There's definitely there are a lot of bank runs happening right now. And Nexo, again, not being very humble, putting this out there. If they really wanted this to happen, send it to Celsius lawyers. Don't do this on Twitter, right? So again, I think this will come back to haunt them, and I don't wish it upon them, but it's just a stupid move, and it's a horrible PR move. It does not make them look good by doing this. It's stupid, and it's putting a target on their back, right? So I saw this also. I forgot to bring this up, but this is not a good look. Not a good look at all, especially when times of fear, when there's a lot of fearful people out there, right? There's no need to be like, beating a dead horse while it's down. It's like, there's no point to that. Does ETH get affected by Celsius? Well, it has been, because there's a lot of people that are afraid, because the STE, DPEG, and Celsius held a lot of Ethereum. And also, I think Celsius has... I think their biggest problem is they put way too much into ETH's beacon chain, so they can't withdraw that. And then they participate in way too many DeFi projects, which, they're close of getting liquidated or margin called. And there's projects that went belly up, So when there's market, fear, a lot of these things come out. What are the chances that Coinbase, KuCoin, Binance, and others will do the same as Celsius? I think the chance is low, because I got done saying this. They make millions upon millions from fees. Regardless if people are panic selling or panic buying or playing with leverage, and people are playing with leverage and getting liquidated by the hundreds of millions, they're collecting their fees. And there's really no reason for them to be very greedy in putting their funds into DeFi projects, because they're making millions upon millions daily, right? Unlike Celsius. So I think it's very unlikely that exchanges go belly up. But with that said, still can happen. It's a chance. Even Coinbase said so, right? So safeguard your crypto. That's the best way to do it. Safeguard your crypto. If you have like a hardware wallet, mobile wallet, right? Ones that you control the keys, get your crypto in there. Superman, thank you. And yes, what do you think about Vauld and BlockFi now? Well, I asked Vauld. Obviously, they're a partner. I asked them to release a statement. They said they're working on it. I don't know how much of DeFi they're involved with. I don't know, but they are going to release a press release about it. And BlockFi, also asked them about it. BlockFi is based in the U.S., so I generally think that companies based in the U.S. has a lot more scrutiny because the regulators are hounding them. So BlockFi already shut down their interest account due to SEC, but I'm pretty sure they're not as involved with DeFi projects as Celsius was. But I reached out to them too. I asked them about it. How do you think about AMP? Moved up 20 spots. No, I don't have any different opinions about AMP. Will Sol and Matic survive? Yes, Sol and Matic will survive. I think Matic, especially, they're layer 2, the biggest layer 2 that we have. There's so much going on in Matic. If you look at the usage, smart contract calls, ERC20 token creations, there's so much of it on Matic. And NFT marketplaces, they have a lot of partnerships. So Matic will definitely survive. I would have a really hard time believing they can't. And Solana too, even though Solana is having horrible network issues, and that is why they're being punished. But they still have a lot of backers, a lot of NFTs, and I don't think they're going to go away. I think they're going to both be okay in the future. But obviously, it's not just them. There's a lot. I think Polkadot will do well. BNB will continue to do well. Ethereum will do well. There's so many other ones out there that will do well. What's happening with Tron and a stablecoin? You know what? We have seen this before. I've seen this firsthand in 2017. Tron rose up from nothing to a big cap in top 10, and then they died down really hard because Justin started doing his Justin stuff, like some antics, and put a lot of shade on Tron and himself. And since then, nothing has changed. And I still think they had something to do with the bank run on UST. The timing of it was not a coincidence that they released their own stablecoin, USDD, right around the time. And then Justin said that he bought $2 billion worth of UST. Yeah, you just put two and two together, right? But since then, they have done well. But, it always comes back to haunt them. Because Justin is just a horrible leader. He's a horrible leader, makes a lot of very shady and questionable moves. That is why I don't trust Tron. I don't trust USDD. I don't trust BitTorrent because they have bought them. I don't trust anything under the Tron ecosystem. Thoughts on Cadena and will it survive bear market? I certainly hope so. I think the team, if they're serious about it, they will continue to execute. And they do have a great team. They look like they have a really great team, good backers, great technology. Cadena's technology is among the best. Still supporting Bitcoin consensus while scaling it so that it's basically feeless and can scale infinitely. Yeah. With all the blood, are alts on your radar to DCA? The market is making a Bitcoin maxi. It always happens. Every single time, Johnny. Every single time. This is why I've always said to stick with 50, 25, 25. 50% in Bitcoin, at least right now, at least for stability and strength. And then 50% and 25% in big caps, right, which still gives you some stability, but more growth, but also bigger declines in the reverse. And then 25% is mid to small or micro caps, right, for hyper growth. But I've always said you got to have at least 50% in Bitcoin, at least. And that message goes out the window when things are good. When the market is roaring upwards, no one wants to hold any Bitcoin, right? And then, unfortunately, people learn the lesson the hard way and they come back. So just always hold on to some Bitcoin, right? At least 50%. And I think you'll do okay. But right now, obviously, having cash is also important, 20, 25, 30%, so that you're able to DCA and continue on. What is going to happen for us to get our crypto? I got about 1K in sats and Celsius. I don't know what Celsius is going to do. They're not answering. I mean, Alex, before, he would go on air and do a lot of interviews and stuff. Maybe he hasn't planned. I don't know. He didn't get back to me, but I'm hoping Alex does some PR or damage control. And talk about what's going on. Well, I mean, I think everyone knows what's going on. It's just that he needs to discuss it. He needs to talk about it, right? Yeah. So don't know what's going to happen. If there ever go open withdrawals or what's going to happen with Celsius, I don't know. Celsius seems to have live stream 1 p.m. today. Well, I'll be listening in. How low can ETH go? I don't know. Gonna go below 1,000 if Bitcoin goes lower? Sure. But here's the thing. I like to remind everyone. Let's just bring up Ethereum's. I thought I had it. But let's bring up ETH, right? Despite the fact, yeah, it's 12.25 looks bad, very, very bad, right? Until you go back and realize where it came up from, $91. And this is back in March of 2020. $91 to $12.26. That's in 2 years, right? A little bit less than 2.5 years. So, yeah, that's pretty good gains. And one of the reasons why you want to stick with the winners, why you want to continue to stack sats or stack ether, stack whatever, while things are low. Because regardless of Ethereum's, I guess, downturn right now, it's still up thousands of percents higher from just 2 years ago. And we will see the same thing. Wherever we end up going, wherever we end up bouncing off from and recovering, and we will recover, you'll see the gains come back, right? That's why you want to take advantage of the dips, because when this happened, when 2020 happened, when 2018 happened, everyone said it was going to go lower and lower and lower and lower, and it caused a lot of people to miss out on tremendous gains by waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting until we were near the top. Then they bought in, and then now they're seeing what we're seeing now, right? So you don't want to be like that. You want to be ahead of the game, or if you're in the game, just continue to have patience and DCA along the way if you can. Fed is going to increase because inflation rate is well, that's already determined. It's 50 basis points this month and next month. But the question will be, what about afterwards, right? September, and there's like one meeting after that. I think September and then November, right? Are there going to be more rate hikes? That's what people are wanting to know. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, today is market hell. U.S. market, you can see, not good. Not good at all. Bitcoin, crypto, not doing very good. Amplified by what's going on with Celsius. And there's question marks about all exchanges, stable coins, MicroStrategy, right? There's a lot of fear out there right now. But like Anthony said, and like I've been saying, right? We're still very early. We're still very early. And you got to stick with a long-term goal, which for me is to continue to hodl and continue to have patience and continue to DCA, because that's the only way you truly win, right? Stick with that, and stick with crypto, and stick with Bitcoin, and we'll get through this together. Bitcoin always does, and it will again. So stay strong, my friends. All right, smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you tune in. All right, have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.